Minecraft's secret new menu is way more powerful than you realize. Mob farms just got a nice little upgrade and even more on the brain's new lightning rod and other new blocks. Good morning to you besties, it's me, Wetleg, and it's my favorite time of the year. At last, with the release of Snapshot 25W31A, Snapshot season is back. And this week around, we kicked things off with one of the biggest snapshots in like over a year. For a little bit more context, check out the snapshot video if you missed it. And for a cookie, smash that like button. Talking about the complete removal, annihilation of spawn chunks. Oh my god, I didn't even think about this, but Haddock's Maro. The problem with spawn chunks is if an animal is loaded anywhere, fresh spawns might not happen. You're so right? Like mob spawning, specifically passive mobs on Minecraft and Java, is a little bit weird. Isn't there some kind of quirk with passive mobs and how if there are some spawned in the world and maybe more won't really spawn, or at the least passive mob spawning is just like so slow? I'm still working on running some tests with this spawn chunk changes, but that's potentially a big benefit. Alright, next up, I want to die. As in, I want to make something in my Minecraft world way more colorful. Oh my god, I completely forgot about these things. These poor blocks, and I'm crying for days until I talk about them here. Mama, I love these things. They are so good looking. I love the little plates there. It's almost like Mojang was trying to give a secret food item. You know, little things that you could have fun terraforming or decorating your base up with. These things go so hard. I do not believe any changes were made to these textures since they first popped up on Bedrock Edition, and that's an accessibility thing. In my humble opinion, having these unique dye textures is so much better than having a bunch of them just be the same circle, but in a different color. Are you getting whiplash? Because back to spawn chunks. Oh my god, I thought there was a spawn chunk game rule. Spawn chunk radius. It was only like a couple of updates old, and now it's gone. Sometimes, when you're playing Minecraft and you change the difficulty because you're getting overwhelmed or something, specifically peaceful Minecraft, well, you know, hostile mobs, they will not be able to spawn. We have a change with spawn eggs, specifically a new little bit of information that will pop up on hostile mobs that are disabled in peaceful. Interestingly, in the previous snapshot, like before this one, actually, you could summon a mob in peaceful Minecraft, like a hostile one, and it would spawn in with the command for 1 tick. Now that happens with the spawn egg, but we have a new tooltip for any spawn egg that is a hostile mob. It will tell us that that hostile mob is going to be disabled in peaceful Minecraft. This brain's new little tooltip will only pop up on the spawn egg if you are in peaceful Minecraft. The summon command also has been changed, so it will just not work in peaceful difficulty. If you try and summon a hostile mob in peaceful difficulty, you'll instead get this little error message. I love it. It's the attention to detail here, but why does this spawn egg work for a second? I thought that was like anti-against what we were trying to do. What if I told you that Mojang was sick of it? People using subtitles to cheat inside of the game, so they went ahead and removed them. Would you believe me? Well, look, I'm just a guy online. You shouldn't necessarily believe everything, but subtitles are gone. Instead, closed captions are now the new meta. If you enable closed captions inside of your world and then run around and there's noises, well, yeah, subtitles will pop up, but no longer are they called subtitles. These are actually captions. This was done on a technicality basis because, technically speaking, subtitles would mean like when somebody is talking to me in game, maybe an iron golem. Hold up, are they just being technically consistent, or are villagers about to get voice acting lines? Oh. In this modern Minecraft era, one of my favorite moments of a snapshot is when they add a new block because, well, it's exciting. But also, I really enjoy just messing around with this block after the snapshot video and trying to find new things and learn more of the mechanics. We didn't really get to do it with the Happy Gas update too much, at least when it comes to blocks, but now, just like the Spring to Life update, it's time for some more block knowledge. Copper statue, bopper statue. My first thought here was this interesting little block. Can we waterlog this block? And oh yeah, if you're building an underwater ancient temple and you want to waterlog your statues, well, sure enough, you can see here that every one of these gets waterlogged. You can even waterlog them when you have the statues in different poses. In fact, the poses do not affect anything with the copper statue when it comes to copper statues. Now you gotta keep your eyes peeled because I'm gonna mess around with some build tips, maybe a little bit more on stream or whatever. But build tips, keep your eyes peeled. But check this out. This is one of my favorite little tricks that I discovered recently. The copper statue, you can put it down on the ground. The different poses here are going to readjust the lightning rod. And oh man, look at that. You cover it up with a little bit of carpet and maybe it's some kind of clever little decoration inside of your world. Now, a big functionality of the copper golem statue that you may know about if you watched all of the Bedrock videos, but if you're Snapshot gang only here, we didn't even talk about it, how this copper statue here, it has actually different redstone signals based off of the pose that it is in. If you hook a comparator up to the copper golem statue and change its pose, you will get any of 4 different signals. So the default pose, just like standing and chilling there, that's a redstone signal of 1. Next up, sitting down, redstone signal of 2 when pulled down with a comparator. Walking around running, which I love how it is modeled on Java Edition. It's so good looking. That's a signal strength of 3. And then last but not least, excited, shocked by lightning, that's a signal of 4. Speaking of shocked by lightning, I had a little bit of an idea here when it comes to the copper statue. What if maybe, hear me out, that it actually behaves like a lightning rod where it attracts lightning? After all, we have this little rod on its head. Now, I don't know if that would make the lightning rod a little bit more redundant or whatever, but I could see this being a little bit more of a clever, different way to keep lightning away from your build. Maybe? What do you think? And by the way, this is a quick reminder to smash that subscribe button. Only about 35% of you who are watching these videos actually are subbed. Don't you want to know about Minecraft, man? On Bedrock Edition, up until this week, there was this really cool functionality where if you have a copper golem statue posed in a pose and you mited in that pose, you would get whatever pose that statue was in. And unfortunately, no longer does that seem to work. Or at least not over on Java, but what about maybe with a Silk Touch pickaxe? If I had a statue pose in a different pose and I mined it with Silk Touch, oh, it doesn't even work with that. Maybe this should be a functionality of Silk Touch. Imagine being able to Silk Touch it in the walking pose and, you know, it stays walking. Hey, by the way here, these different poses and oxidization levels with the statue, it does not matter. The oxidization does not currently affect redstone strength and signals. Big missed opportunity there, if you ask me. Oh man, the copper golem statue, I've been thinking a lot about this thing, man. Building with it is going to go so hard. Of course, this statue block, it matches the copper blocks pretty much perfectly, but a couple of blocks that I found in the game that I think look quite nice when paired together, the copper golem statue standing on an unlit bulb. It's something about the highs and lows on the copper golem and the bulb that, in my opinion, look particularly quite nice here. Like when the dude is just standing around on the matching copper bulb for whatever oxidization level the statue is, it looks really, really nice in my opinion. It makes the statue a little bit more grand. Puts it on a pedestal, if you will. Another big one that looks pretty nice here is the chiseled copper. Same thing, match the oxidization level, and it looks like a very, very advanced block. I hate to do it to you, but once you notice it, you will never unnotice it, so skip ahead if you don't want to notice it. But the copper golem, oh no, when it's doing this little dance, it's not centered on the block. You see that? Yeah, it's off center. It's real hard to notice, but once you notice it, you're never gonna unnotice it. Last but not least, copper golem statue. Can we go ahead and move this thing with a piston? Unfortunately, no. We cannot push it, and we cannot pull it as well. That's a little bit of a bummer. It would be cool to at least be able to, you know, make these things be able to go up and down or something, but yeah, it just doesn't work like that. But thinking about this copper golem statue posing and all of that kind of business, I wonder if we could finally see armor stand posing and maybe some armor stand arms while we're at it. Mojang? Why not? Look, maybe I'm going crazy and noticing things that aren't changed, but were the legs always staggered like this on the armor stand? Like, you see how they're not perfectly straight? Was that changed, or was it always like that? Now, in an initial snapshot video, when generating and loading a world, I talked all about performance and how it seems to be a whole heck of a lot smoother. Well, yes, that is the case. Noted in the largely long changelog, performance improvements. Entity rendering order was improved for significantly better performance. Now entity rendering, this is going to pop up mainly and affect your game for the most part when you're in an area with multiple different entities. So that would mean maybe somewhere in your world where you have like a bunch of mob farms going on. Maybe you're a hostile mob farm in the sky. Villagers, minecarts, armor stands, you know, anything that is considered an entity. This sneaky little change here is actually going to mean that your game will perform way better when you are in an area with mob farms. Even better if you have multiple mob farms. This is actually an amazing change, and considering the fact that many different types of farms in Minecraft involve, well, you know, at least some type of entity, this is going to be a pretty big change overall. In fact, the devs even note that this change is really big, and they wouldn't be surprised if there are some big issues with rendering and loading and whatever, so look out for bugs. This is actually such a huge upgrade to farms, and I wonder if this is hinting at something larger. I mean, after all, these upgrades to rendering here, well, rendering, does that not have directly to do with vibrant visuals? And actually, a rhetorical question, because in the Vibrant Vanguard Discord server, where every snapshot that relates to vibrant visuals in some way, well, the snapshots that relate to it end up getting documented inside of the server, and surprise, 25W31A is significant in the step towards vibrant visuals. There's no way we end up seeing vibrant visuals for Java in this update, right? It feels like Mojang is really filling out the copper block set, because inside of this new update, one of the latest and greatest new blocks is the lightning rod. Well, new kind of. You see, the classic one has been here, but all of the oxidized states, they're brand new. I love how this block looks, and for building, look at how well this thing pairs with the other copper blocks. Again, sort of just like with the copper statue, the bulbs, specifically, they go so hard with these new lightning rods. Like, place the rod up, place the rod down, whatever you want, it looks so nice. Wait a second, and these are rotational blocks. Now that I think about it, you could probably make gigantic a dumbbell with copper bulb and lightning rod. Oh, dude, it's so cool. Now, rotationally speaking, yeah, the copper lightning rods, the new oxidized ones, well, you'll be able to place these in any rotation just like you can with the classic, the OG from back in the day. In the comments of the snapshot video, I saw quite a few questions about what happens with the lightning rods when you strike them with lightning, so check this out. When you strike an oxidized lightning rod with lightning here, what's happening to the rod? Well, and we can get up close and take a look at it. It doesn't seem that much is happening to the rod at all. It is not unoxidizing or anything like that. Also, is this particle effect new, or has this always been a thing on the lightning rods and the thunderstorms? I love it. Oh, and if you were wondering about if it's waxed versus unwaxed, does that matter? No, it doesn't seem to matter. Even an unwaxed lightning rod does not unoxidize. That's definitely broken, right? Oh yeah, that's a lot of hostile mobs. Oh boy. But it's okay, because next up, I'd like to talk about the new debug screen. Oh my gosh, this is part of the Vibrant Visuals updates. This new screen, slightly streamlined and minimized, is going to be less performant, like it's going to create less lag inside of your world when you have it open. I didn't talk about it too much, but our top secret menu, dude, this thing is actually overpowered. So we have two separate sections inside of this menu. Debug screen text, and then down here, the renderers. These renderers are going to affect things inside of your world. So, for example, if I turn them all on, oh man, I get a bunch of additional information, and my frames hit about, about 6. Now, some of these, like chunk borders, for example, are just the ones that were accessible from the shortcuts, like F3 and G. You could turn chunk borders on and off like that still. Now, these things are only really technical things, so maybe you don't really need to turn them on. Down here at the bottom of the screen, we've got 3 different buttons: a default profile, performance profile, and then done. When I turn the performance profile on, it seems that the game is all about making it run smoother, because up in the top corner, I can see my FPS. Oh, we do it real good, not the flex. And then tapping the F3 screen, I have even less information here. So performance profile is basically streamlining your game so it will perform a little bit quicker, and also making it so you can monitor the performance while you are performing. If I go ahead and adjust anything inside of the screen to whatever and then tap performance profile or default profile, it will set it back to default. Done obviously backs you out of the screen. You could also use escape to back out of the screen. Up at the top of the screen, I've got a search bar. I could search, well, really anything inside of this menu here and find the exact toggle for it. But the craziest thing about all of this is inside of this screen, I could actually turn certain things on. For example, game version to always, and it will always show at the top corner of the screen. Or I guess more so wherever it is meant to show up. One of the most useful ones here is player position. If I turn that to always, I could run around in my world and always have my exact position, aka coordinates, showing up, and the dimension, the direction, all of that stuff. Now, I do propose a change here because, at least from looking at the screen, this is the only way that I could figure out how to show coordinates on screen. All of the extra information is nice, but I think we should be able to make it so you could just show the coordinates. All this would be is copying Bedrock Edition. I think it would be fine. Another pretty cool one here, if you're into exploring the world, a biome. I like this one. You could turn biome on, and then, well, when you're in a different world with, like, multiple biomes going on, you could actually see what biome you are moving from. Maybe you could use this to learn all of the different biomes in Minecraft or whatever. This is actually a really, really cool one. As somebody who likes to explore, it's pretty nice. And you should note that these settings right here will persist from world to world. Another one here that might be useful, specifically if you're trying to get a difficult mobs to spawn, is local difficulty. Now, as you can notice, this one, it's now in the top other corner of the screen. And that's happening purely because I have something in the top left corner already. But, with that being said, it seems that some are always going to be locked to certain sides of the screen. So, for example, player position, if I wanted it to be in the top right, well, it doesn't matter. It just shows up over there. Maybe that's a specific thing that could be an option over here, like L and R, and then you could choose what side of the screen it goes on. Potentially super useful when you are looking at a block. I mean, it will fill up your screen, depending on the block, with a bunch of information, but you could use this to show what block you're looking at while you're looking at a blocks. And then the last one that I want to highlight here being super useful is entity spawn counts. On the top corner of my screen, I mean, there's a lot of information going on there, but that all has to do with the different entities that have spawned inside of your game. Maybe you're working on a mob farm and you need to test things out to see if it's spawning entities. Well, you could use that toggle, leave it open in your world, and watch the farm and see if it actually works. I'll be messing with the screen even more over the next couple of weeks, and I do think that we should maybe have another button down here too to be able to preserve whatever settings you customize. As of right now, there's no way to save any of your customized settings. Last but not least, loot tables. We've got so many new ones. Now really, what this all could mean is actually huge when it comes to the game and customizing what drops from what. This is all being pulled off with only a small handful of new technical loot tables. Entity interact, block interact. You will now be able to change what happens when you brush an armadillo, a turtle grows up, a beehive is interacted with, a cave vine, or a pumpkin is carved. And you'll also be able to control what happens when a charged creeper takes out another mob in your world. For data pack creators and customizing loot tables, this is absolutely huge. And so is Minecraft Snapshot 25W31A. It's Snapshot season, so smash that sub button. I'll be back at you next week with another one. You find anything else cool or secret, tell me about it on the community tab. Thank you all so much for watching. I can't believe it's August. A huge thank you to my patrons, Ground Crazy May, Medical Boomstick, Fire Dragon 19, Steve M, The Duke, and Pixie Phantom. I'll see you all tomorrow. Adios.